Greetings once again, pirates on the high seas. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with more One Piece. In the previous chapter, Rob Lucci reported back to his subordinates that he had apparently killed Stussy. I know a lie when I hear one. Or read it, whatever. It was also revealed that it was none other than Saturn who had wanted the Iron Giant to be preserved 200 years ago, showing that maybe some of the five elders are a lot older than they seem. Elder is a very apt word, all things considered. He had wanted to study it, but they never got anything out of it after all this time until now. Worst case scenario, indeed. Meanwhile, in Marie Joie, the food shortage is starting to affect the Celestial Dragons, who are taking it out on their staff. And everyone else on top of that. If it's going to be their problem, they're going to make it everyone else's problem. We also see that Figurlin Garling has been appointed to being a new member of the Five Elders, replacing Saturn as the warrior god of science and defense. And what happens to Saturn? Well, he gets a nice severance package from life, as because he allowed Luffy to escape, what seems to be his immortality, powers, what have you, is all stripped away by Emu, leaving nothing more than a skeleton. Hey, that's just kind of like a song I know. It's revealed also that Edison managed to survive, which a lot of people called because we didn't quite have his death. He calculated that he would survive going through the Frontier Dome. It's just that he was pretty badly damaged. But we never saw him meet a complete and utter end. As it turns out, he was continuing to try to get the Island Clouds to take away Punk Records in the laboratory. But York manages to detach the laboratory just in time, meaning that Edison only flies away with Punk Record, so they still have the Labophage. Also, York will now be under Garling's supervision. They also have Shaka, Pythagoras, and Atlas, all inside of Edison's mind as well, still managing to exist in some capacity because, well, they were technically digital entities in and of themselves. And, well, Vegapunk, well, he is Punk Records. It is his brain. His body's still dead, but in many ways, his mind still lives, but that also includes York, who will still have remote access to Punk Record. They can't really sever that because they never foresaw something like this happening. So Edison builds a new body from the various spare parts, except for York's. I'm gonna chuck those, but I mean, they're giant woman parts. Something about that seems wrong. Edison also contacts Heradas from Witheria, and Shaka also notes by the time humanity manages to access Punk Records again, it may very well be another 500 years. So we'll see if humanity gets their act together by then. I'm not gonna cross my fingers on that. And ultimately, the revolutionary decides to make a move. Koala notes all that they've managed to learn, with Ivankov noting that a major flood explains the various structures being built in the various blues. Tequila Wolf, Vodka Wolf, Rum Wolf, and Bourbon Wolf, potentially all connecting to the Red Line. But Dragon, well, he's preparing for the worst. With such news, he knows that people will be fighting over habitable land on higher ground, which will lead to a multitude of conflicts that the revolutionaries now have to get ahead of, lest the world be turned into a sea of blood, all things considered. And thus, Egghead has come to an end. Onward to Elbaf, right? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, One Piece chapter 1126, Settling the Score, where we have Yamato hanging out at a soba shop. Is that Tsuru's soba shop? And is that Some, or I can never tell. It's really hard to tell because all the women kind of have the same hairstyle. But it's Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest, Surrogate Pilgrimage Volume 14. The girls from the soba shop in Curry have gone missing. More missing people. It's really hard to tell who could be behind it. And why young girls? It's not Queen, is it? Alright, we pick back up on the giant warrior pirate giant ship. The giants Oimo and Kashi are all smiles along with everyone else. As Kashin says, after we parted ways with you folks at Water 7, Oimo finishes saying, we wanted to catch a glimpse of the captains, so we headed for Little Garden. Luffy, still stuffing his face, says, "You did, huh? Makes sense you'd be curious. It'd been 100 years, right?" One of them says, "And when we showed up, wouldn't you know it, but they were beating on each other with their bare fists." Dory laughs, "Gah, gah, 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 gah." Bill Brogy, I think. Luffy asks, "Why?" And Dory says, "Gag, gag, gag, gag. Our weapons were busted." Yeah, it was after they had sent them away. We see the Straw Hats on top of a giant pile of food. As Kashin says, "Do you think either of these tough old ghosts is gonna be done in by simple punches?" Another giant says, "Da ba 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 ba. Nope, sure don't. And the only way to finish a proper duel is death." Dory says, "In the end, they had to put a stop to it. And we made our way back to Elbaf together to get new weapons." And Nami says, "To get new weapons? You're going to keep fighting?" And Dory and Brogy laugh, saying, "Of course!" Yeah, I kind of figured as much. Well, actually, I didn't. I was really wondering how they got them to stop fighting. It's just like, we gotta go get weapons. It's a battle to death. So mostly we're going to see at the end of this series, if one of them ain't dead, we're going to see Dory and Brogy back at it, still fighting. Nami turns away, drinking her ale, saying, "Unbelievable." Usopp gets mad, saying, "Come on, Nami. Did you learn nothing at Little Garden?" Luffy, a mouthful of food, says, "That's right, tell her, Usopp." Sanji lifts up a mug, saying, "This stuff's strong." A giant says, "It's called absinthe." Wait, aren't you not supposed to drink that? This spirit is known as the Green Fairy. It can make you hallucinate, so watch out. Yug, yug, yug. Are they gonna be alright? And everyone's partying down with the giant, laughing, eating, having fun, while Bonnie sits on Kuma's lap, saying, "We finally got to the chance to see it together." And with Kuma seemingly smiling, Bonnie laughs, saying, "The horizon at sea." Meanwhile, the narration reads, "One month earlier, at the island of Gartel in the New World, an incident occurred. In the territory of Red-Haired Shanks, Emperor of the Sea, the pirate known as Bartolomeo the Man-Eater burned the flag of the red-haired pirate and delivered a blow to their honor." Oh, jeez. You guys were still there? We see Bartolomeo in front of his men, kneeling, cuffed before the red-haired pirate. Shanks tells him, "If I allow you to get away with this, then all the other islands and pirates to whom I've given this flag will lose the faith they put into it, and my friends will be subject to danger." Bartolomeo says, "You're right about that." Bartolomeo slams his head into the ground, saying, "I'm sorry for what I've done. I wasn't thinking about none of that when I did this. It was a stupid, ignorant thing I did." Townspeople murmur amongst themselves, and Shanks is silent. Hongo kneels down with a bottle, saying, "This is a bottle of deadly poison. You need to go and make Straw Hat Luffy take this within the next month." Bartolomeo looks at it, questioning. Hongo tells him it causes excruciating pain, massive hemorrhaging, and ultimately death. Your boss has to pay for your crimes. Gambia says, "Why would Mr. Luffy have to do that?" Of course. Bartolomeo takes it and drinks the whole thing. Gambia and the others cry out, "No, boss! Don't drink it, boss! It'll kill you! You're gonna spit out blood and die!" Bartolomeo says, "I'm okay with that. Mr. Luffy didn't give us no permission for the ritual cups we drank from and the flag we used. This ain't got nothing to do with him. Please don't tell him I did this. I don't want him to waste a single precious second of his time on the likes of me. This is just one of those things that happens. A common thug stands up to an emperor and gets slaughtered for it. Nothing more, nothing less." Gee, I sure wish I could have seen Mr. Luffy be the king of the pirates, though. I really screwed up bad, damn it all. You gotta carry on after I'm gone, boys. Gambia, the others cry out, "Boss!" And Bartolomeo thinks, "Farewell, my friends." And then he burped, and nothing happened. Next thing you know, they're taking off in the Going Luffy-senpai. People on the ship crying out, "Whoa, they let us go? Go, 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 get us out of here." Gambia questions, "So if that wasn't poison, then he wasn't trying to kill Mr. Luffy after all, was he?" Bartolomeo says, "I thought an Emperor of the Sea would be more bloodthirsty. Guess he's a bigger softy than I realized." Oh, Bartolomeo. See, this makes me wonder if something happened to Leo and Sai. Back on the Red Force, Beckman turns to Shanks saying, What's that smirk for, Captain? Shanks chuckles to himself, saying, I mean, doesn't it feel good, knowing how much they care for Luffy? Yasopp steps forward and says, all right, Captain, step aside. Every action has a price to be paid. And Yasopp takes aim, and next thing you know, the going Luffy-senpai explodes. The narration saying, the Bartolomeo Pirates ship sinks in the waters off of Gartel Island. Status unknown. Meaning they're probably not dead. But man, we are seeing a lot of allies kind of bite it to some degree. I still don't think Law, Kid, Bartolomeo are dead, but they're having a rough go of it. Oh, you then pick up on the pirate island full of lead. And just as Avalo Pizarro was worried about, Peach is pissed at the destruction, saying, what the hell happened here? While I was away, Pizarro. Pizarro, still talking within the mountain, says, yeah, I know it looks bad, but Blackbeard, stepping on the gigantic face of Avalo Pizarro, holding him, his hand on his mustache and his boot in his mouth, gun drawn, Blackbeard says, yeah, you heard about how the whole world is about to get in on the act, didn't you? The poneglyphs ain't just the knowledge of the underworld anymore. The four emperors are about to have a full-scaled scramble for the stones. Even the government and navy are getting involved. You think we can win if you don't take them seriously? And the key piece to all that is Kobe. So how do you let him get away? Pizarro says, I'm sorry, teacher, I'm sorry. Give me a minute and I'll tell you the story. So first things first, we also let Moria get away. So Moria did escape. Meanwhile, you have San Juan Wolf placing buildings saying, where did the store go again? He turns and hits another building with the other pirates saying, more to the left. Your butt broke one. Meanwhile, back inside the mountain, Blackbeard says, Moria got away too! Meanwhile, the pirates call out, Commodore, we're ready to go at a moment's notice. We know you'll be the man who claims the One Piece, Blackbeard. Conquer the world for us. And so in Blackbeard's main chamber, he talks to his men saying, hear that? Morale sky high out there. We gotta take advantage of that. So repeat that for me, Kuzan. You let Kobe get away, but, Kuzan says, but we caught Garp instead. Blackbeard says, amazing. While Pizarro says, yeah, see, Teach? It's an upgrade in the end. Kuzan says, though to be honest, I thought I killed him, but he ended up alive instead. And we see Garp in chains. Blackbeard says, that's a hell of a feat, Kuzan. Who else could possibly take him down? Kuzan says, it took all of us together and we just barely managed. Was he being serious or was he holding back? You gotta wonder. Jesus Burgess chimes in saying, the wind's in our favor now. Blackbeard then says, and we've got the three-eyed girl on top of that. Hey, patch me into Lafitte. As he pulls Pudding in close, she turns away in disgust and anger. Yeah, seriously, where has Lafitte been this entire time? Oh, you pick up in the headquarters of Umit Shipping Company. Okay, we met that guy, the guy who owns this back at the tea party for Big Mom. Lafitte chimes in, yes, Commodore? Oh, he was hanging out at Marijois. Okay. Then again, we know he can easily get up there somehow without being noticed. Blackbeard asks, what are the revolutionaries up to? Lafitte says, they seem to be quite serious about attacking provision. The bandoliers at Redport continue to break down, and they don't seem to work at all when they actually have food on board. Oh, okay, so this is a continuous thing. So he's at the shipping company because the revolutionaries are probably attacking that, still trying to starve out the celestial dragons. It really is a smart move. It's bad enough that the food shipments have been cut off from many countries, but even when the Navy secures a route, the bondolas cry. You see Lafitte sitting atop a building as he says, if we end up with any of those celestial dragons actually starving, then we'll really be living in unprecedented times. I love it. Blackbeard says, ha ha ha. Well, stop enjoying the show and get to preparing. Lafitte says, ha ha ha. already on top of it. We then pick up back at the pirate island. Okay. Fresh from Egghead, Devon and her crew arrive. As she radios in, Pizarro, we're back. Pizarro, looking out from the island, says, yeah, it's Devon. Devon says, come pick us up. Pizarro reaches out with the island's hand, grabbing the ship. As he says, what's with you refusing to pull the ship into harbor? I'm injured, you know? While Caribou starts freaking out, saying, oh, we're in trouble now, big trouble. A giant monstrosity has plucked us right off the white cape. As I live and breathe, sir, madam, do something. Spare little old me from this dreadful fate. Devon says, oh, would you shut up? Pizarro says, is that the guy you brought? Van Auger says, yep. Oh. Huh. Wait, what? Okay, so kinda got caught off guard because I accidentally read some of the stuff. As we see gigantic fish alongside the giant warrior pirate ship, which is really saying something. It's like the Island Eater. The narration says, 2 days have passed since leaving Egghead, and even the giant pirate ship, the Great Eric, has yet to reach Elbaf for a very particular reason. As we see Dory and Brogy freaking out alongside Brooke, Brogy says, how could this happen? Brogy says, we drunk ourselves into a stupor and woke up to find. And Brooke says, the Sunny is gone. We can't find it. Giants look over the side of the ship with Lilith, Bonnie, and Jinbei off to the side. The giant says, we gotta get that ship. We can't go back to Elbaf without it. Robin's saying, I wonder if it got chomped to bits by a fish. Well, Frankie says, it's not funny this time. You've seen how big they are around here. Where did you go, Luffy? Okay, so it's all the ones who actually drank the absinthe. Oh boy. Someone calls out Nami, hey, wake up. And Nami, now in Viking attire, already getting that, finally wakes up. For the first time ever, Nami was actually hungover. As she wakes up saying, oh, I think I have a hangover. And as she wakes up, she finds herself in a house made of Legos. The hell? I guess that would make some kind of sense, all things considered. So, did they drunk drive to Elbaf? Maybe a coup de burst? So, it seems like Chopper, Nami, Zoro, Luffy, Sanji all ended up at Elbaf, maybe? It's actually interesting that the newer members of the crew didn't end up. But then again, Elbaf was something planned a long time ago. So maybe that's what Oda is using, the fact that this was always something planned for the crew up until Chopper joined. And past that, it was turned into something else. That might explain why it's only those 5 who ended up out there. Oh, 6. Sorry, 6. Man, see, here's the thing. People kept sleeping on Shanks, saying that he's too soft, he don't do enough, he don't do this, that, and the other. And then you see him moving and he doing a whole bunch of effed up stuff. Then again, Barto stepped. He stepped out of line. It's like, I feel bad, but at the same time, it's kind of like how I like Kid, but at the same time, I'm not going to be like, what did he think was going to happen? See, I have more sympathy for Law's situation because they weren't trying to start nothing. I had wondered where Lafitte had been this entire time, but he's just spying on the activities of the revolutionaries, but that's a good way to keep Blackbeard informed. It makes a lot of sense. Lafitte just has this weird movement ability. Caribou has finally been taken to Blackbeard and he's about to find out a whole bunch of other stuff. And poor Pudding. I don't think he's gonna do too much to Pudding, all things considered, but I don't know, I'm kind of worried. I hope they don't spend too much time out at sea looking for the Sunny, not realizing that it's over in Elbaf now. So 2 days, God. I have to wonder what everyone was doing drunk in Elbaf for 2 days, and how they managed to get all the way out there with nobody noticing. Wild stuff. But it's One Piece, so we're finally in Elbaf. Let's hope it's a great ride. It probably will be. Even the worst of One Piece is always a great time. Let me know your thoughts and theories in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din and hope to see you later. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.